Hey men, Mike Yarbrough here. Well, our beard oils have been out for sale for a little while now, and the reviews are starting to come in. Here's a 5-star review from Jasper I wanted to read to you guys real quick. Jasper says, "The real deal, period. This stuff is awesome. This is the beard oil that men have been asking for. Great scent, non-greasy feel, cool packaging. You can't go wrong picking up a bottle. Just be warned, the result of using this could warrant unwanted female attention." That is correct, sir, and it could also warrant wanted female attention, if you get what I'm saying. Guys, these beard oils have been really doing a good job of setting themselves apart from the things that are already out there on the market, and I want you guys to find out a little bit more about the story behind these, how we put these together, and to know what really makes them different. We really set out to make a better beard oil than anybody else out there, and you can find out more by going to wolfandiron.com/beardoils. Once again, that's wolfandiron.com/beardoils. Check them out. You will not be disappointed.
Duty, honor, country dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, what you will be.
The destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals.
Now we are the masters of our fate.
Howdy, gents. Welcome back to another episode of the Wolf and Iron podcast. I'm your host, Mike Yarbrough, founder and curator of wolfandiron.com, and I'm glad you're here. Guys, I've got a little special podcast episode for you here. It's all about Movember, and I'm talking with Doug Prusoff from the Movember Foundation. For those of you who have been following Wolf and Iron for some time will probably remember that I've been doing Movember stuff on and off really for the last few years. I've always been involved in it, but I haven't always promoted it from Wolf and Iron. We've either had something else going on or what have you. But Cody, our podcast producer, has actually been really, really involved with Movember every year. I mean, this guy, he goes all out. And in fact, that's how Cody and I got connected. And I said, well, actually earlier last year, we were like, we need to do something for Movember this year. We've got to promote it. We've got to push it because we really care about the mission that Movember's on to help guys understand that there's some serious health issues out there that guys aren't dealing with. For a lot of guys, it's just getting worse. Things like suicide, mental health issues, prostate cancer. And the Movember Foundation is all about basically awareness of these things, bringing solutions to the table through the funding of research and things of that nature. But a lot of this really is just about just getting the word out, just helping guys understand that you're not a freak, you're not a weirdo. It's okay if you're dealing with some depression, but you need to talk about that kind of stuff. If you don't feel good, if you're feeling down, if you got low energy levels, go get checked out. Don't just suck it up. Don't just try to rub some dirt on it, so to speak. And that's one of the great things about Movember is that you can actually get involved in spreading that word right out of the box. And with their Move campaign that they've got going on, so it's not just about mustaches anymore. Being able to get out and move, register for 5Ks and things like that, but kind of through Movember or to support Movember, those kinds of things help people to get active and actually making changes immediately. So I know a lot of you guys listening to this have actually had relatives, probably a father, or grandfather, uncle, who've been impacted by one of these things, prostate cancer, mental health issues, suicide. And it means something to you guys to be a part of a solution, to get one other guy out there off of the bad track and onto the good track where he needs to be. And one of the ways that you can do that, guys, is by supporting Movember, which is something that we hope to do every year going forward. Now, our Movember team has already started. We've got some prizes, some giveaways and stuff like that for the guys who really show up with an awesome mustache, for the guys that do the most movement, for the guys that raise the most money, that kind of stuff. And I want you guys to head over to wolfandiron.com/Movember. That's wolfandiron.com/Movember. And you'll see the show notes for this episode, but you'll also see a link out there to our Movember team page where you guys can register Movember. You can put in our team name and get connected with us. And look, even if you don't know if you're going to participate or not, even if you're like, man, I don't know if I can grow a mustache. I'm not sure if Movember's for me. I don't know if I have time. I don't like to ask people for money. Look, register to be a part of the Movember team. One, you get to see all the guys growing terrible mustaches throughout the month of November. And that in itself is just worth it. I'll be one of those guys most likely growing a terrible mustache. There'll be some guys growing some awesome mustaches. And you guys will get a chance to just be a part of that and have a lot of fun. And who knows, you may want to be involved more even than you thought, or maybe even more next year. But once again, that's wolfandiron.com/Movember. And without further delay, here's my conversation with Doug Prusoff. Mr. Doug Prusoff from Movember, thank you so much for being on the Wolf and Iron podcast.
Thanks so much for having me on, Mike. Really excited about it.
Well, it's great to talk to you and really just to get connected with the guys over at Movember. I've been involved in Movember for several years now, and I think I'm a 5-year Mobro, something like that. So
amazing.
I'm a multi-year Mobro, and we've actually done some Wolf and Iron teams. We're actually going to be doing that again this year. And we've done giveaways, we've done events and things like that to really get it kicked off right, and to have it's just a really fun. It's serious in some ways, but it's a lot of fun in terms of a charity. So we've really enjoyed it every year that we've been involved, and so I'm glad to connect with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Movember, maybe how you got involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And first off, again, cannot thank you enough for all the support over the years. Really happy to hear that you've had a positive experience participating, because I think for me that's where I got my start with Movember and why I've been as connected to the foundation for as long as I have here. So I actually started participating in Movember. This will now be my 10th Movember participating, so 10-year Mobro here.
That's awesome.
I got my start. So I got my start back in my college days. I went to Lafayette College in Pennsylvania, small liberal arts school there. And had played lacrosse in college, was part of fraternity, so it was part of these larger groups that obviously were male-specific groups there. And I think, when I first started doing it, like you said, for me more than anything, it was really a fun way to get involved, to give back, and to do something that I thought would have an impact on my life and the life of friends and family and people that I cared a lot about. So when I started getting involved there, started leading more campus-wide campaigns, and like you said, hosting some events, doing some fundraising, and was fortunate enough that my senior year of college ended up winning a prize to the foundation as the highest college fundraiser that year.
Wow.
So that was really what got me more connected to foundation itself. I got to go out to LA and meet the Movember team, and basically said, listen, I love you guys, I love this foundation, and I would love the opportunity to work here. So I've actually been at the foundation ever since graduating, so this will be my 7th Movember campaign, working with the foundation, and have had a number of different roles over the years, but am now heading up our corporate development efforts, so really helping large corporate organizations build out Movember campaigns and really getting folks going around the employee engagement, health and wellness and education, and some of those foundational pieces to make it just fun, engaging, and successful peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns within these different organizations.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I just thinking about it from a corporate standpoint, before I began working for myself, I was a software developer, and I kind of got the group involved in Movember, and I kind of thought, is this going to work? Because a lot of people would see it as just like a guy's thing, right? But it actually is super fun, and so many people get involved, and it was easy for the corporation to just kind of jump on board and say, yeah, we'll donation match, we'll do contest, within the group and all that kind of stuff. And so I actually found that it was a really easy thing, a really easy charity to get everybody hyped up for. And you guys do such a great job of providing materials and stuff that makes it fun, and ideas and things like that as well.
Yeah, and I think, it's something that we're really lucky about, is that we have grassroots supporters at these different organizations that are not only really passionate about the cause and what we're doing, but really have that infectious sort of personality and do an amazing job of getting others to participate with them. And, really where we come in is to try to help scale that as much as we can to get different offices, different parts of the business involved there. And as you said, I think what's really beautiful about Movember, particularly in that corporate context, is that it can be this really impactful educational campaign where you get to learn about this stuff, talk about things that you wouldn't typically talk about on the corporate side, but then also have a lot of fun while you're raising funds that are having a larger impact and helping the foundation on our mission to change the face of men's health there. So it's really cool to see it all come together from those different sides and different perspectives on things.
Yeah, that is really cool. Now, I know here in the States, I don't know if this is the same in Australia where Movember originated, but here in the States, there's always confusion. When I tell people about Movember, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm growing my beard out. And I'm like, no, bro, that's not how Movember works. That's the other thing. And so there's always confusion between No Shave November and Movember. And help people understand like what Movember is for the guys that maybe have heard about it and they're already kind of in the state of like, oh, I thought it was growing beards. Give us an idea of what Movember is, maybe how it got started.
Yeah. So Movember Foundation, we're the only global charity that raises funds and awareness for men's health. And the basic concept behind our foundation is that really, unfortunately, guys are not that great about taking care of themselves. They tend to be more reluctant to talk about health, to go to the doctor when they need to. And as a result, men die on average 6 years earlier than women do. There's really no biological reason for that. So the whole goal for our foundation is to help create a world where men live healthier, happier, and longer lives. And the way we do that is through the conversations that we start and then the funds that we raise that support programs in the areas of prostate cancer, testicular cancer, mental health, and suicide prevention. Our foundation has been around since 2003, and since that time we've had over 5 million global participants come together to help raise $837 million and fund over 1,200 men's health projects in 20 countries around the world. So I think, when people talk about what is Movember and what we're all about, I think the mustache is definitely our symbol and our calling card, but I think, what I tend to harp on is the breadth of those programs that we've been able to fund and really just the passion within our community that's come together to have as large a collective impact as we've been able to have there. Because I think what people don't necessarily know about some of those origins that you had asked about there is Movember started as a conversation in a bar. It was a couple of guys in Australia looking to grow mustaches for the month, and they were really just blown away by the power that the conversations that were being started by the growth of this new mustache was really causing. So they recognized that every time they would get a question from a friend, family, coworker, whoever it was, asking them why they were growing that mustache, they recognized the opportunity to make it about something bigger and really use the mustache as essentially our hairy ribbon and turning all the guys participating into walking, talking billboards for the cause to really drag some of these conversations out of the shadows and really, put men's health as something to be focused on, something to be talked about, and really go so much wider with the fundraising aspects than folks had seen before. So it's been cool to see it grow from, again, conversation in the bar to now the largest men's health organization and movement in the world today.
Yeah, it's awesome to think about that. And I can tell you from my own experience doing the Movember thing, there's something unique about mustaches where people will ask you, what is going on there with your upper lip? Because like if you just start growing a beard, people just think maybe you forgot to shave. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah. But when you start growing that there's that awkward stage of the mustache, even for guys like me who are well, follicle blessed and all that kind of stuff. I have a beard most of the year or a mustache or something most of the year. But when I shave down and I'm just, I look like I'm 12 again, and then I start to grow the mustache out, people are like, what is going on here? And, what's happened? What happened to your facial hair? And it sparks that conversation. Hey, I'm doing this for this thing called Movember. Oh yeah. What's that? I think I've heard of that, and it's a great way to talk about what Movember does, to kind of get people involved. And so I think it's just the super fun way to get things going. Give us an idea of just, you kind of mentioned that guys are naturally just terrible at checking on our health and kind of getting checkups and stuff like that. But I think it would help guys to just understand maybe the scope or the scale of the issues that we deal with. When we talk about suicide, we talk about mental health, prostate cancer, and those kinds of things. Issues that are particularly bad for men. Give us kind of like an idea of like what's the scope and the scale that we're dealing with here.
Yeah, I think, as I've worked with the foundation and just looking at some of these stats, it really is just pretty remarkable, like how big an issue this is and how seldom you really hear people talk about it and open up in this dialogue in a bigger way. And so globally, around the world, one man takes his own life every minute of every day. And yes, that ends up being over 500,000 men a year. And I think what I didn't realize, and I think people I have conversations with don't realize, is how many men compared to women are taking their own lives. And globally, it's about 3 out of every 4 suicides are by men. And the U.S., that number is close to every 4 out of every 5. So creeping up on 78% essentially of men and of suicides being by men. And so I think, while it's obviously not exclusively a male issue, there's no question the way it is gendered and how much of that is tied to the fact that guys typically aren't great about talking about these things. I think so many guys grow up having that mentality ingrained in them of, be a man, tough it out, power through this stuff, rub some dirt in it, whatever sort of mantra you want to attach to it there. But in doing so, I think, guys unfortunately aren't great about talking about it, aren't great about reaching out, and as a result, it really leads to these really poor outcomes for men and for people around them. So I think for us, really trying to reduce that stigma that goes with the idea of talking about your health, admitting when things aren't going the best, and really trying to reframe that idea of masculinity to really position taking those steps, taking those actions as a point of strength, as a point of pride, to put yourself in the best position you can to live a healthier, happier, longer life, and really be there for those people that you care about. And hearing you talk about your message within your group, it feels like it is so tied directly to what you guys are trying to do around that higher calling and just making guys feel okay with doing what they need to do to be able to be there, to be there for the ones they love.
Yeah, I mean that's a big part of it. Is it's all well and good to be strong and to be tough and maybe have this stoic kind of mindset of I can handle things and I'm not going to let things get to me. But you're not doing anybody good if you're dead, or if you're seriously injured because of you're not taking care of yourself, or you're not willing to address the problems that are going on in your life. And I think one of the great things about some of the Movember events that I've been to, just kind of like the kickoff events where guys will shave, or there's a race that everybody's signing up for, whatever it happens to be. And we'll talk more about, how the different things that you can do to support Movember. But that there's usually like you guys usually provide like a download sheet or something that talks about just some of the stats. And I think just telling guys that the problems that men face are as common as they are actually helps men to go, oh, this actually isn't that weird. Like I don't have to be ashamed if I have depression, or if I, have these thoughts of just like I don't feel worthwhile, or I'm worthless, right? Whatever the case is, or they're just their energy levels are down, or whatever the case is, stuff that they would need to go and get checked out for. Just having that information there and recognizing that these are common enough issues that guys don't need to be freaked out if they say something. I'll tell you, from my experience has been, having been involved in Movember for the last several years, is that I'm always surprised at how many men know a guy, or a lot of times it's a father or grandfather who had prostate cancer. And something I never really thought of, and I just kind of thought, well, I had never known anybody who had that, or at least I'm not aware that I have, and but just how common those things are. And go ahead.
I think from my perspective, it's one of the things that I find to be the most powerful about the Movember campaign, and what I try to instill in guys that maybe haven't participated before is that, like, by growing this mustache, by being a part of this community, what I guarantee is that you will have at least one conversation that there's no chance that you would have had if you didn't grow that mustache. And like we were saying before, that mustache is such a remarkable thing in the sense that people will remark on it. And I think in my time working with the foundation and even beforehand, how many conversations that led to someone opened up talking about something they had gone through, a family member had gone through, a friend had gone through. I think it really does just have such a power in taking these conversations, dragging them from out of the shadows, and let guys know that, like, you're not alone in this. There's no need to suffer silently around things that you're going through. And while, some guys, like you said, want to have that stoic mentality, that's totally okay. But for a lot of other guys, they're looking for these opportunities to talk, and a lot of times just need some sort of icebreaker around it to be able to engage in these conversations. And I think one of the things I've been most impressed about is that, guys want to be there for other guys, and I think it really is a network. And I think so many guys are hesitant to reach out and ask, but I think on the opposite side of it, guys are always there for their friends when they actually need them. And I think something kicks in a much bigger way. So really trying to, again, break that down, get guys being more comfortable talking about it. And I think it's the beauty that something as fun and goofy and silly as a mustache can really help make significant progress to help them make these conversations more prevalent and less uncomfortable for the guys that are starting it.
You said fun and silly and goofy like a mustache. And I think that's one of the things that actually holds some guys back, because they think, oh, Movember, I've got to grow a mustache. It's got to be super manly and awesome. And if I can't pull a mustache off, then I don't have any business being in Movember. What do you say to guys when you get that kind of reaction? Because I'm sure you get that. Or guys that don't want to shave or they don't want to change. What do you say to those guys?
So I'm a firm believer in the worse that the mustache looks, the more conversations that it starts. And really, that's what it's about at the end of the day, is not taking yourself quite as seriously around that physical appearance of how you look there, knowing that every guy that goes through it, like you said, you're going to have some of those awkward days in there, but really reminding yourself why you're doing it, what that symbol of the mustache is, and really, being comfortable enough in your own skin to power through some of those awkward days for, that greater good of starting these conversations and raising these vital funds to support the programs of what we're going after there. And so I think, again, it's wild how just changing your appearance, like doing something different like that, like people notice, friends, family, coworkers, they are going to ask you about it. And, I think the big thing I say is, again, power through, but then also educate yourself on the facts, educate yourself on these issues so that you can talk to the people that are asking you about it. And, these conversations save lives. And it's really as simple as that to me. And it's something that, fundraising dollars aside, I will always participate in Movember, because I always feel like one conversation, one person can be changed every single time you're going through that. And that to me is enough of a benefit to want to be involved and want to make a difference there.
It does take a special kind of courage to grow a knowingly terrible mustache for a good cause. And, it's not a courage that I'm familiar with, but, there is that awkward stage like we talked about. But I've also had guys that would have never grown a mustache before. And they get, they're on day 28, 29, whatever. They're almost done with Movember. And they're like, this thing is awesome. Like, I'm actually I look good with a mustache. And they'll keep it, and their wives dig it, and they kind of discover, like, man, this is really cool. And then, of course, you got the people who are like, I got the fuzz stash going on, but they had a lot of fun with it. And I think the teams do work best, especially if you're on a Movember team. They work best, like you said, when guys don't take themselves too seriously, and we can all have a little fun and kind of play it up. Give us an idea of some of the other ways people can get involved, because I know that Movember has kind of grown over the years in terms of the ways that people can participate, even if they don't have a mustache like the ladies,
Yeah, absolutely. And so, for the mustache, that would be my response there. But the other one would be, if you don't want to grow the mustache, there's still a lot of other ways to get involved as well. And a big campaign for the foundation has been our Move campaign. And what that is a commitment around physical activity in the month of November, and really encourage people to run or walk 60 miles in the month of November for the 60 men that take their own lives every hour. And so I think having that distance-based goal and something that you can do to really take this men's health messaging that we're trying to push forward and put into action, whether you're a guy that's doing it or what we call our Mo Sisters, in support of the men that they care about in their lives. So that's a really popular way to get involved. And then the other thing that we see a lot that you alluded to earlier is hosting and attending different events. And I think, what people have seen over the years is that, like, obviously, like any other charity, different events can be really successful ways to both bring people together, start those conversations, as well as raise funds and create these really cool experiences that make people want to come back year in and year out. So, whether it's celebratory events at the end of the month, or it's, hosting a bake sale or some sort of sports tournament, there's really no limit to things that we've seen out there be successful from the community. So I typically encourage people to get creative, to have some fun, to bring people together and do something that's going to work well for you. And, they don't have to be these, massive, golf tournaments or like huge, burdens to put together type things. It can be as simple as, getting your friends together, doing a barbecue and having some donations in there and just really, creating that avenue to build those networks and have some fun and raise some funds along the way.
We a few years ago we did a Movember kickoff event, and I was really surprised just how successful it was. We met at a local kind of like a pub type place, rented out a little backspace area. We didn't rent it out; we just met in the backspace area. Everybody bought their own drinks, and we had a couple wings and stuff like that we bought. But we had some people donate, and you could curate this yourself. We had some people donate some shaving goods like shaving creams and things like that. But you could easily just go out and kind of curate your own sort of shaving kit, grooming kit sort of products for, relatively inexpensively. And then just raffle that off, like you said, have some guys come over, grill out, and just raffle it off, who wants it. And look, guys, this is right around the time Christmas is coming. This is pretty much anything you put out there is going to be an awesome gift for somebody. So it's not like it's going to go to waste, even for people who don't shave typically. It's easy to get people together and to find something for people to just throw some money in the hat and see who wins type of thing. There's also a lot of opportunities here in Charlotte. I know all over the country to register for like a 5K or a run walk type of thing. And it's a lot of times they're Movember specific. Sometimes it's just one of those things that you could get involved in and look, burn off some holiday calories and have people, just donate to your, successful 5K or 10K or whatever it is you happen to do. So and just get creative with this. It is a lot of fun. We actually did a cool kind of contest thing, a little game where I printed out some famous mustached figures of history, right? And I just covered up the top part of their face, and it was basically a guess the mustache kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you just had to write what your best guess was, put it on a sheet of paper, and throw it in a hat. And the person who got the most right, they won a thing. So it's just a lot of fun ways to do this kind of stuff. So we always have fun with it every year.
Yeah, no, I love all that, and yeah, definitely encourage people. I know you guys have a team created for you guys down there, so getting them signed up and participating, whether it is through growing the mustache or doing Move or, committing to host their own event or, 10 other things going on in the area. It's all hosted right there on Movember.com, so it's super easy to get involved, to get your own page, to reach out to friends, family, coworkers, whoever it may be, and really spread the word and try to get some donations in support of your efforts there.
Yep, and I mentioned this in the intro, but if you guys didn't catch it, if you go to wolfandiron.com/Movember, that's wolfandiron.com/Movember, that'll take you to the show notes for this page, but it'll also give you the links out there for our Movember team, so you guys can sign up and do that. Register for Movember, sign up, even if it's just to show some support, even if it's just to find out, who else is going to be a part of this thing, whether you're going to grow a mustache or if you're going to move. Just get in the group and get registered, guys, because you're going to there's some camaraderie there. And one of the things I like about the team is that there's competition between the guys in the team, but then also between teams a lot of times, right? Like, sometimes corporations will have like, this is the dev team's, Mo Space page, and then they got the HR team or whatever, right? And there's just competition. And I think that competition is good because it creates accountability there, to get up and move, to actually get up and do something to make some changes. You don't have to wait to the new year, to start making some changes. So I really like that about what you guys have going on.
Yeah, I think, it's something that I've always thought is a strong part of our Movember community, and always impressed how into the competitive aspect people get, like you said, whether that's internally as a part of the team or externally competing against other teams or other organizations that are involved as well. I think that, competitive element and the fact that you have your own page as a part of a team page, you can see the leaderboards right on the side and hopefully gives you that extra kick of motivation to get to your goal, to beat some of the other folks that you're going against, and understanding that at the end of the day, it's about having as big an impact as you can have. So, whether it's competition that drives you or any other motivation, I think, getting on there, seeing it, getting a feel for those things definitely helps get me excited every year and to want to do the most I can on that side of it.
And it's funny too, because I'm not naturally a competitive person, and I don't get typically competitive during Movember, but you always got those guys that want to win. It doesn't matter what game it is, and they join your team, and it's awesome because they're just raising all kinds of money and they're out telling everybody, and they're, it's just, it's crazy to see people's personality come out, whenever there's a challenge to put on the table and they want to just conquer and dominate. It's awesome.
And I really love, people just getting super creative with it as well. When people tap into some of those incentive-based fundraising, so it's like, if you donate this amount of money, I'll do this thing. If I get to this fundraising level, then I'll do, like this crazy thing. And so I think there's always so much like fun stuff that exists from our community. So definitely encourage people that are participating to have fun with it, to go all out, and like you said, just make it as successful as possible there.
Yep. Well, I got one last question for you, and because I really want to give time for the guys to head over to the website and get registered. You're doing kind of some awesome stuff here. I mean, you started with Movember back when you were in college, and you've been doing this, for 10 years now, and you're part of a movement that's seeing real results and helping guys become more educated, to change their lifestyle, to come out of the dark, like you said. What does that mean to you as a man to be doing the kind of work that you're doing now?
It honestly means a lot to me. I was raised that it didn't really matter what you get involved with, but whatever you do with your life, making sure that you're having an impact, that you're helping others. And I think, I've been constantly rewarded in my work with Movember, and really that quality and level of conversations that I'm able to have with that Movember community out there. Because again, I think some of our most passionate supporters and folks that have been around doing it for a while really have this strong personal connection to what we're doing, whether it's something they've experienced, something a friend's experienced, something a family member's experienced. And so, I'm always reminded that how much of a power there is in bringing a community together and working together to create this positive change. And, particularly in a world where sometimes it does feel like there's, so many things happening and so much stuff outside of your control. I think, focusing on those things that you can control, focusing on those areas that, we can and are making an impact around really just gets me excited every day and happy to know that, in the work that I'm doing, I'm able to hopefully make a difference for myself, for my friends, for my family, for people I care about. And it's definitely been a rewarding aspect in terms of being involved in the foundation, both as an employee and as a participant and fundraiser as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I know a lot of guys are looking for making their life meaningful. They want to feel that they have purpose, that they know that what they're doing is contributing to a greater good. And so I think that's excellent that you're able to experience that. Guys, listen up. Head over to wolfandiron.com/Movember. That'll take you over to our page where you can see the show notes and also links over to our Movember space page. But also, we're going to have the information out there for you guys about what the prizes are going to be for this year's Movember team. And so, the guy who grows the best mustache, the guy who raises the most money, things like that. I actually don't have all this figured out yet. But by the time this podcast releases, we'll have all that stuff figured out, and you guys will be able to read all of that out there on the website. So once again, wolfandiron.com/Movember. Doug, this has been a great conversation. Like I said, I was really just looking forward to connecting with somebody from Movember, and you really just helped me understand a little bit more about just what's going on kind of behind the scenes, and just get me excited about Movember 2018. So thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Mike, I can't thank you enough for having me on and for all the support this year and over the years. Really excited to see what you and the team are able to do this year, and happy to help support however I can going forward.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.